welcome to the program City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. City Pulse is a program brought to you by the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, a town planning association recognized in Nigeria and globally. I am Phoebe Onwabuije, and on today's program we'll be discussing dispersed settlements and the role of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners in restructuring Nigeria's poor housing plan. I won't be doing this alone, as I will have joining me in the studio right after this break a seasoned expert in the built environment. Join us after the short break.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. Before we went on that short break, I was about introducing a seasoned expert in the built environment, and he is seated right here by my side in person of Town Planner Toyin Ayinde, immediate past President, Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, and the former Honorable Commissioner, Lagos State Ministry of Fiscal Planning and Urban Development, 2011 to 2015. And also he is the former chairman, Tribunal of Inquiry into the collapse of the 20-story building in Ikoyi, Lagos. You're welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you.
A pleasant day to you, Phoebe. It's my privilege to be on this program.
You're welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you. Yes, so on today's discussion, we'll be talking about dispersed settlements. You know, all the scattered rural areas that are spread across Nigeria. And also, we'll be talking about the role of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, which you are a part of, the role of this association in restructuring the poor housing plan that is in Nigeria. To begin, could you please explain what is meant by a dispersed settlement and how it typically forms?
Okay, the thing about human settlements is that they are supposed to be structured, they are supposed to be consciously built. And where you have human settlements that are consciously built, you see a clustered form of settlement.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but when there is no conscious effort to build one, then you begin to experience dispersal. That is, everyone begins to do it as it is convenient to them, and it's just proof that there's a loss of cohesion, because what settlements are supposed to be is a representation of community.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
A village is a village because of that spirit of community. A town is a town because of the spirit of community that gives them an identity. But dispersal can happen when that cohesion is absent.
Okay, that's quite interesting. Now, let's look at considering that dispersed communities are found across all Nigerian states, including the FCT, which is quite interesting. What are some of the key factors that contribute to their development and persistence?
Now, I think is a governance system.
Okay.
That is at the base of how we develop. You know, there's a question every civilization needs to ask, every country, every people. And the question is, how do we live together?
Okay.
How do we live together? It is the answer to that question that determines the structure, the fabric of that settlement. Now, if that question is not asked, and you don't have an answer to that question, you have also taken a decision.
It's true.
That is, anything can happen.
Yeah.
So when anything happens, you have chaos. But we have seen over time, I'll give you an example. In history, we learned that there was a civilization called the Harappan civilization,
Okay.
which was about 3,000 years before Christ.
Oh, wow.
3,000 years before Christ. And what was common in that civilization was that government took interest in how their settlements were built. So they will consciously plan a settlement and begin to grow that settlement along the principles of the plan. Then what they do is that they take the same plan, they can repeat it
In other areas.
in other areas, in other towns, in other settlements, such that you seem to have a pattern. You can establish a pattern looking at it. And we have a few developed countries that exhibit the same principles. If you go to UK, for example, you will see the similarity in the housing pattern you see in some of their cities. If you go to London, you see the housing, the structure, the massing, even the material.
Yes, sir.
So what you see in London, if you go to Manchester, you see something similar again. If you go to Birmingham, you see the same thing. If you go to Liverpool, you see the same thing. It's because government, the governance system, has consciously put its focus on making sure that they build a clustered settlement, they build a community that is inclusive, that everybody can have his own part in that community and everybody is feeling secured. So it's about our governance system, it's about our ability to be able to provide an answer to the question, how do we live together?
Okay, sir. I appreciate the fact that you used all these foreign countries as examples and all the rest of that. So in a nutshell, what you are trying to say here is that the Nigerian government has no specific pattern for its citizens.
Yeah, now let me not even say Nigerian government. You notice that I said the governance system.
Okay.
So that we understand that when you are talking about governance, it's more than government.
Okay.
It's not just about government. You realize that we have governance at local level. Not local government level, local level, where you have traditional rulers. We have governance at family level.
Yes, sir. That's true.
You have governance at community level. So you have then the local government system, you have the state government system, you have the federal government system, which we brought for ourselves. But the issue is living as a community. It goes more than government. It's a culture. It's something we grow up with. And if we're losing it, it's also about us, not just about government. So, but because government is a face that people see, government is a representation of the whole of the people. So oftentimes we want to say government. But I tell people that when you say government, don't forget that is probably your uncle or your brother or aunt that is there. So government is also made up of human beings. So and that's why I used the terminology governance. So the way we have governed ourselves, even at a family level, the way things are, we don't seem to get concerned about the quality of living that we have, the harmony of the community. Maybe years ago it existed. It existed, and these are about values. In those days, in the western part of the country where I come from, part of the values is that the fact that you have a child does not mean that you are the only one that will train that child. The whole community trains that child. So that's part of what made them cohesive, and they could build together, they could watch one another's back and things like that. All of that is getting lost. First, it's getting lost in urbanization.
Okay.
It's also getting lost in the fact that we haven't established a system that makes everybody feel part of it, that is inclusive, that makes you protected, that you belong to a system.
Okay.
And that's something that we have to deal with at the level of culture. You know, and when people say culture, I tell them it's a way of life.
Yeah, it is.
It's not dancing up. Because most times when they say that we want to promote our culture, you see people just dancing and then
Or wearing traditional
or wearing
outfits.
traditional outfits. That's exactly, those are just some elements that depict who we are, but that's not the culture. The real culture is how we live, and we acquire this how we live over time. It's a habit. You develop a habit,
yes.
and your habit becomes your culture. It becomes your character. So I think it's one of the things we have to investigate, interrogate, and see how we can make it better so that we can have closely knit settlements.
Okay. Thank you very much. Town planner Toyin Ayinde. Moving forward, we know that these dispersed settlements, they usually suffer from a lot of challenges like access to services and infrastructure, flooding, you know, insecurity, and the rest of them. Could you share your insights on the unique characteristics and potential areas of improvement for these settlements?
Okay, you see, every human settlement is a living organism. That's one of the elementary definitions of a town or urban area that a student learns. It's a living organism. So if you just take a human being as a living organism, and you understand that there are systems within the human being. There's the circulatory system that takes care of your blood circulation. There's the digestive system. There's the excretory system. There's the skeletal system. You know,
Yes,
there's the respiratory system.
Yeah.
And once there is a clog in one system, it can begin to cause problems. And you know what? One system can actually destabilize other systems.
Very true.
So that's exactly what is happening in our human settlements. A town breeds. A town breeds.
Yes.
So, and it does that with the nature that is around. A town needs circulation because you must connect from one place to the other.
Yeah.
A town has a reproductive or productive system. It's an industry.
Yes.
You know, so a town should also have an excretory system, a digestive system.
Okay.
So when you produce waste, where do they end up? How do you process them? When rain falls, how does
How
it
do they move out?
What's the natural feature of that environment? You will see that oftentimes in our natural states there are surface drainages, rivers, streams, and natural drainages. The drains we have in front of our houses are just complementary.
Yes.
They are not the drains.
They are
Because
not.
if you have the drains in front of your house and it's not leading anywhere, then you know you haven't drained. So the flooding that we have is our inability to coordinate and build on the natural systems that nature has given us.
Okay.
And once they are not connecting, or once we are not maintaining, once they are not linking, we'll always experience flooding.
Okay, so basically the solution to flooding is not to create more drainages, but to take care of the natural.
You know, the drainages must have where they are flowing to.
Okay.
And so we must make sure that our natural paths are not clogged. Many times our natural paths are clogged. In Lagos, for example, a few months ago, the Commissioner for the Environment and Water Resources in Lagos State was going about identifying buildings that were already within drainage channels, natural drainage channels. You know, people are not meant to build, if anything at all, those channels are meant to be enhanced, possibly planted, you know, by their hedges.
Okay.
In a good place. You can even make a picnic of them, because you make sure that the water flowing in them is clean water.
Okay.
But most times we will have dumped a lot of wastes in those channels, which makes them congested and silted over time. So we must first ensure that our natural parts are clear, they are clean, and they are flowing.
All right, dear viewer, you've been watching City Pulse on Housing TV Africa, and I've been here with my guest, a very intelligent personality, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde. We'll be doing more after this break. Stay with us.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts on Facebook, Housing TV Africa, on Twitter, Housing TV Africa, Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
Welcome back. It's still City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. I am Phoebe Onwabwije, and I have my guest here, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde. We've been discussing on dispersed settlements and the role of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners in restructuring Nigeria's poor housing plan. The very next question will be, sir, will be directed to you, sir. As a town planner that is affiliated with the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, what strategies and actions can be implemented to address and improve these underdeveloped areas?
Okay. You know, I think it was Socrates that said the best and most admirable form of wisdom is that needed to plan cities and human communities.
Wow.
Socrates lived long time ago.
Yes, he was a student of Aristotle or something.
Before Jesus Christ. Now, if somebody at that time understood that it required wisdom, and he didn't call it ordinary wisdom, he said the best and most admirable form of wisdom. So the first thing that it presumes is that town planners must be intelligent.
That's very true.
It is not a field for unintelligent people. It's not a field for dunces.
It is not.
And when you have dunces along the line, you have confusion along the line. The truth about our human settlements in Nigeria is that we established most of them without plans. And somebody said, when you fail to plan, you have planned to fail. So the reason most of our settlements are failing is that there is no conscious effort to plan. And where we have made plans, many times we do not follow the plans
to the
end. For example, there's a terminology that almost every Nigerian knows: master plan. They say, so a governor can say, oh, but we have done a master plan for this city.
Yeah.
But a master plan in its real sense is just a policy document.
Okay.
It's not a document for everyday administration of a town or city. A master plan gives a global picture. It's like you are airborne in the aircraft. You can hardly see what's on the ground.
Yes.
But as your plane descends, about to land, you begin to see vegetation clearly. You begin to see vehicles moving clearly. You begin to see the roofs of buildings. You can guess that these are buildings.
Okay.
But when you land, you come face to face with the terminal building.
Yes.
So you have more details. So in planning, there is supposed to be a grading of plans. So from master plan, I'm starting from the city level now. I'm not starting from the national level. But let's take the city level. When you have a master plan for a city, that city will be subdivided into sectors. And you detail what is in each sector.
Okay.
That sector will be divided into districts. That district will be divided into neighborhoods.
Okay.
At the neighborhood level, then you are able to identify your own location, your own house,
Wow.
which you may not be able to identify on the master plan. Now, what usually happens is that a governor commits his state to preparing a master plan.
Okay.
And then he doesn't follow with the sector plan, doesn't follow with the district plan, doesn't follow with the neighborhood plan. And then he expects things to go right.
How?
Because all of these things connect. With every lower level of plan, you require more details. You show more details. So when I'm showing you the plan of a neighborhood, I can tell you the size of the drain. I can tell you the direction of the drain. I can tell you the invert level of the drain. You cannot do that on a master plan.
Wow.
So the master plan is a guide leading you to other steps you are supposed to take. So in Nigeria, we don't. We just do master plan, and everybody goes and say, we have done the master plan, we have done. That's for those who even have the courage to do the master plan. Many people in governance think that master plans are pieces of paper. You know, a governor will prefer to embark on a project where he's going to put a tape and he's going to use the scissors to cut the tape. And everybody's seeing that ceremony, seeing it in the newspaper, and they are clapping that, oh, he has done this. But even what he is cutting the tape for started as a piece of paper.
Yes.
If it's a building, it started in somebody's head and it had to be put in pieces of paper. And every human settlement that we have seen, that we are visiting, Dubai, Singapore, all of them were established on paper, and gradual improvement, gradual building of everything was done. And until we do that, we can't get the same result.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. That was very, very educative, and I must say that I've learned a lot. So to wrap up on our discussions, you've talked about what the government has to do. You've talked about the role of the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, what they have to do in eliminating these issues that we have. So to conclude, what do you think? Do you think the citizens, like the residents of these dispersed settlements, do you think they have a role to play? And if they do, what is that role? And also, what is your advice to them from this time forward?
Now, every citizen has a role to play in the development of his environment. Generally, it is the responsibility of the government to plan. But it is the responsibility of every one of us to develop.
Yes.
So when they say physical planning and urban development, government leads in the planning.
Yes.
But people, by bringing in their investments, do you know that if a man just arrives Abuja today and he doesn't know where to live, and he takes a few planks and puts four planks and puts something on it, do you know it's development? That's development.
And that thing happens so.
So it's development.
Yes.
Now, so the role of our governance system is not to check such activities and to say, no, you can't do this because there's a plan. And the plan,
have to follow this plan,
is to build a house here. So you can't put those planks. So the citizen needs to know what's in the plan. But the truth is that Majority of the citizens are ignorant of what is happening. So there is that need to embark on an awareness campaign, which is what the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners is doing. Okay. As a matter of fact, this program is part of the enlightenment campaign, trying to reach the citizens so we know that it is only in order. It is when you create order that you have increase.
Yes.
If there is no order, if there is confusion, you can never have increase. So the role of the citizen is to get himself or herself abreast with the plans of government. But government too cannot sit back and refuse to educate the citizen. So the information system of the government has to work efficiently, just like the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners too is trying its best to ensure that it can enlighten the people.
Thank you very much, sir, and thank you to our dear viewers. This is a wrap-up of the program City Pulse on Housing TV Africa. Once again, City Pulse is a program that is brought to you by the Nigerian Institute of Town Planners, a town planning association recognized in Nigeria and globally. So that's all we'll be having. Thank you so much, Town Planner Toyin Ayinde. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Join us next time on City Pulse and Housing TV Africa. Follow Housing TV Africa on YouTube and all social media handles. Don't forget to download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play and Apple Store to stay connected. I am Phoebe Onwabuje. Bye for now.